Welcome to the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder. The vision of this podcast is to provide tools on how to become successful in your finances, business, leadership development, and much more. A little bit about me: I grew up in the hood, homeless at the age of 14. I made a choice not to become a product of my environment. And today, I am a successful businessman, community leader, and inspirational speaker. It is my desire to encourage and empower you to unlock your greatness. So tune in and enjoy the show. Hey, thank you everybody for listening to the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder. I hope you guys are being inspired, encouraged, and empowered by the stories that we're bringing here on this platform. We're bringing some excellent speakers, people that are sharing their stories, and today is no different. Today, I got one of my good brothers, someone that I went through this game changer speaking program with Dr. Eric Thomas and his team. And I met this brother, and we connected right away. He has an amazing story, but also he's doing excellent work out there. My brother, Wilfred Bolds. What's going on, Wilfred? How you doing, brother?
Man, what's going on, Lo? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good, man. I'm blessed, man. It's great to see you. We went through that challenging program with Cantus and all the coaches, man, but definitely helped us, right, sharpen our skills, gave us a lot of great tips and what we can do. And here we are, man, just being able to share and help one another's brands, and encourage one another, man. So what do you think, man? What were your thoughts about the program and how you're feeling and how you're applying those tips that we learned?
Yeah, man. So the program was phenomenal, man. I will tell you that I got, for the most part, what I was looking for. And that was somebody pushing me and telling me, hey, listen, you got smudge on your face, pretty much.
Right.
I really needed that. And but most of all, having an opportunity to, have relationships from that, like you and I. And so
Right.
other like-minded brothers and their sisters on there also, that's that want to live a certain type of life,
Mm-hmm.
where we affect others in a positive way. And so it's just good to see like-minded people and link up with them.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's exactly what I think too. Like, looking back, seeing the connections that were made. And also, it's a lot of people think with the speaking business that it's this crowded, not enough platforms and things like that. But we learned that, there's certain lanes that people are in. Not everyone speaks to every audience. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the biggest takeaways. But the other thing too was, and I think it was Jeremy, when I heard him speaking, Jeremy Anderson, he said, man, I speak to schools, right, in colleges, universities, and there's over like 3,000 in the country. Even if I spoke at one each day, I still can't reach out to, like, thousands of schools. And so it really helped me, like, kind of open up, man, and say, you know what, man, not only do I have a message to share, but also it is possible to travel and do the things that we love. And that's what we love, man. We love what we're doing. With that, man, it's just a great opportunity for the audience and the listeners to kind of get to know a little bit more about you. Man, we connected because your story is inspiring. We have similarities, right, with homelessness. So without further ado, man, just kind of share with the audience, a little bit more about who you are, like some of the struggles and challenges that you face, and kind of some of the things that helped you along the way and where you are today.
Yeah. And so, man, first of all, it's humbling being here, man. It really is to really share my story, and I hope really can help people. So I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was raised by my mom and dad. I actually had a pretty good background coming up. But my entire life, since 8 years old, I played football. And so that was my identity, man. Everybody around the neighborhood, even family, like, they only really talked to me about football. So I went to Alabama State University, and I did, play football, and that's where I met my wife. He might become my wife.
Okay.
So I actually moved back. I moved to Alabama, where we live now, following her. And but when I came to Mobile, Alabama, I still had that football mentality, even though my football career was over in college.
Yeah.
And so And so as a result of it, like I'm a guy in a strange land, had no family, finding jobs here and there, just being close to, my now wife, but then wasn't. But I had my mindset was still stuck in, Wilfred Bolds, the football player, but I
Hmm.
actually was no longer the football player.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
have you, man. She didn't even know it, because I had my own apartment, but I lost my apartment, and I was living in my truck, man. I had packed my bags up, and I was able to afford a storage facility. So I had my items in a storage facility. It wasn't but a couple of bucks a month, and
Hmm.
I knew how to cut hair. So I had my tools, and I would kind of make a little money here and there, $5 here and there, cutting hair.
Scraping, man, just scraping anything you can get.
Man, I'm talking about. But it was rough though, because at the end of it all, when the sun went down, I had to pull back
Mm.
storage facility and all the way to the back of it, and that's where I was sleeping, in my truck. Yeah,
Wow, man. That's interesting. When I was talking with my coach the other day, and he said, you talk about being homeless, but what did homelessness look like for you? Like, did you sleep in your car? Were you sleeping under a bridge? Or like ET, where you sleeping in an abandoned building? But for me, homelessness was different than yours, right? Um, I just didn't have a place called home. I was sleeping at friends' houses, man, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the couch, wherever I can lay my head. But as I hear your story, and it triggers that, right? Because everyone can relate when you've gone through those type of things.
yeah,
It's embarrassing, it's tough, right? It's sad, man. It's one, you find yourself in a situation, and I'm sure, with me being sleeping on the hard floor, I would think and pray and say, man, God, like, why is this happening to me, right?
yeah,
So I think about that when I hear your story. But also, I played football. I cut hair, right? I cut hair because I needed money. And I remember telling my boy, I
that's
was like, hey, bro, I cut hair for $5. And he was like, for real?
that's
Bro, I
it.
never, I never cut anyone's head before. It took me about 2, 3 hours, but eventually we got there. You know what I'm saying? But you when you're surviving, or when you're in that position and you have to survive,
Yeah,
you come up with anything, right? They come up with it. But then the other thing I got from what you just shared was, after football, you still had to you were still a football player, but you're not a football player, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so there's this identity crisis that you go through, trying to see what life is like. And a lot of NFL players and collegiate players have that problem when they're trying to integrate into society, even military. You see people in the military that come back from war, and they're like, okay, what do I do? Like, I've been a soldier, I've been told what to do every day. Here I am now. What was it for you that, like, just triggered and said, man, this can't be, I have to get out of this rut, and start getting on this path and on this track? Obviously you got a lady, you're successful in a way because you've got a degree. But what was it that said, you know what, this is what I'm going to start doing? And you started chasing that desire.
all right. So let me let you in on a little secret. See,
Mm.
um, and this is I have a book and it's in there, but so not only did I have a lady, but she was pregnant.
Mm.
And so I'm sitting here, I'm in a place, and that's what really had me, following her, because I'm like, I'm gonna be there for that
For the
baby.
baby, yeah, yeah.
But I'm sitting here in my truck, man. Mosquitoes bite me. I couldn't even stop the mosquitoes from biting me. I tried the off, that didn't work. Um, but and I'm like, man, this mosquitoes is doing more with my blood than I am.
Mm.
He's doing what the blood is given to me to do, and that's live. He's living better than I am. I
Wow.
barely can feed myself. He's like, okay, well, if you're not gonna do nothing with your blood,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna.
do something with it.
And I was embarrassed, and that was very humbling. And I was like, man, I'm not talking to anybody. Nobody knows my situation. Like, I have to change. Like, this is the rock bottom. Like, I wasn't raised like this. Like, I have to change.
Mhm.
And I began like digging, like, what is it about me? Oh, I'm not adding value. Like I'm not adding value. Like, people appreciate value. I'm not. When I go into space, the value I used to add was being a football player. Hey, the football player, but I'm no longer that. So I'm adding no value. I'm just in a
Mm.
space behind it. So what is it that I can do to add value? Not only add value, but I got to add value to hopefully she marries me,
Right.
and, the son that she's going to have. And so it was that point I was having that conversation, that literal conversation with myself in that truck. And so that it was that I realized like something have to change. Like this is not how I was raised. This is not me.
Right.
It was that moment there. That was that pivotal moment there.
Man. And that's good, man, because I think a lot of people, when they hit that rock bottom, a lot of times they probably, the first thing is feeling guilty and also feeling like a victim, right? Like, man, I'm sitting in this truck, or I'm sleeping on this floor, and it's not my fault. And then you just continue to down yourself, right? But for you did some soul searching. You went in, you internal, like, digging and saying, you know what, I'm the reason, right? So I think you said adding value is what was missing, but also I hear that you took the responsibility and accountability for what you're doing rather than blaming other people. So that's good, man. That's real good. And so you got yourself out of it, right? Today you're doing phenomenal work. You got a coaching business, right? And I want to dive into this because a lot of people that are listening to my podcast, I guarantee you, they're not really familiar with the flight assessment. I would say that I've always had intuition, like God has blessed me with discernment and guiding me throughout my life. But there's something that's more powerful when you know thyself, right? It's powerful when you master yourself. And so this assessment really just breaks it down. So I'm not going to take the thunder. Definitely kind of talk about your business, and also like the importance of the assessment and why it's so critical that individuals, if you're not where you are, right, or maybe you are where you want to be, but you're still not executing at a high level, just talk about how this thing can really just transform your mindset and help you get to that next level.
Man, let me tell you, man, it was icing on the cake for me, man, because
you
gotta imagine I'm trying to master myself back. That was the decision I was making, is listen, you got to master you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know who you are. You got to know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, so you can add value. Like that was like my mindset. Like back then, when I was still sleeping in that truck.
Right.
And so I got to the assessment. This was like the icing on the cake. Of course, this years later, once I got a chance to actually take the assessment, my wife and I took it. And we were already personal development type people. And that's what led us to take it. Listen, man, it's like an instruction manual for yourself, man. Like you buy a device out the store and it comes with an instruction manual, tells you how to use it, what not to do with it. That's what this flight assessment is. And so my motto is master yourself and execute. And we believe that a person can't fully execute at their highest level until they've mastered who they are as a human. And that's what this flight assessment helps you to do. And so for me, so the flight assessment is broken down into 4 different characters, and we use, jobs, titles, descriptions at an airport. You have the pilot, you have the flight attendant, you have the grounds crew, you have the air traffic control. Well, me, brother, I was a 99 pilot, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same here.
What? Let's go.
Yeah. And there's not many of us, right?
No,
I mean, you
not
talk
many
about
others.
that too. What is it takes up about 12% of the population is pilots, man. So break that down and the personality. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
Let me tell you something. This clutch. Let me tell you something, because my wife and I, we always had a peachy kind of relationship. Like we always just, we were meant. We worked at it, but we were meant, man. But she's air traffic control. Pilot. That means I'm ready to just go. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I studied her assessment, man, and I'm like, oh, so that's why she get upset when I just come home and say, hey, I did this. Oh, okay. She likes to assess things. She likes to evaluate things and analyze them. Then, okay, I can take flight. I'm just trying to take flight on my own.
Right. You don't need no rules. You don't need instructions. You like, bruh, pilots get things done. Like our mindset is to get from point A to point B, no matter what happens, right? Like,
what happened?
and we'll deal with it when we're in the air.
That's it. That's it. And she's like, listen, I understand you want to fly this plane, but I'm going to make sure you don't crash it.
That's
so,
good, man.
so just let me. And so what it did for me is it made things a little more transparent between she and I.
Mm-hmm.
I can just look at her assessment and just study that assessment and know how to approach her, know how to work with her in terms of being a partner. Not just it's beyond the emotional boy. You know, it's understanding your partner. And we also gave our youngsters the assessment also.
Man, that's wonderful. Wow.
So we knew how to. So now I knew my boys are flight attendants. Boys are flight attendants. I'm the pilot, so I'm going in there with all of that energy. Man, listen, you got to do this. You know, and it's like
it ain't processing what they're kind of like.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But this flight assessment. And so anyway, so this flight assessment, me being a D, understood. Okay, this is where there are times where you need to be aggressive, be assertive. You know, if there's a time for that, and there's a time for you not to be in that space.
Right.
So you got to work on that. And so I found that our strength, or well, our kryptonite or our weaknesses aren't necessarily things that we're not good at. It's the overuse of our superpowers that really brings out that kryptonite, our weakness, when we overuse or use inappropriately our superpowers.
Yeah.
And man, that helped, man. That was the icing on the cake, like I said, man.
Yeah.
Execute just in life.
Right. Now that's good, man. And you know, one of the other things that I took from the assessment was you don't have to, like, you know, when you said weakness, right? A lot of people think, you know, well, I need to work on my weaknesses. But the flight assessment isn't really necessarily that. It's to make yourself aware of your weaknesses. But like you said, you have a team. You start to assemble a team, and you want to make sure that the people that are on your team fit the criteria that you have, so you can have that. And that's why it's genius that they put it as a flight crew, because you can't have a team of 4 people and they're all pilots.
Right.
You're going to be fighting to have control of the plane. And there's some people that you can coexist where you can be co-pilot, but somebody has to take the lead while the other one sits back. But I see a lot of people, now that I've studied the assessment for the last year and a half, I see, like, in my business and what I'm doing, because I'm telling my crew, I'm not certified in that, and I know you are, but just kind of based off of what I've gained from coaching and along with, you know, analyzing, I said, man, this team doesn't have an air traffic controller. Like, we need one. So now when I'm in the hiring process, now, you know, I had a full staff, so I couldn't do anything at the moment. But once I had an open position, I realized, like, yo, I need a flight assessment, or I need a air traffic controller. So when I'm interviewing, right, I'm looking for the person that shows the qualities of an air traffic controller, because that's what's missing on our team. And so air traffic controllers, they're, like you said, they're the people that kind of have the plan. You know, they'll tell the pilot, hey, this is where we're going. These are the rules, these are the policies and procedures, these are the standard operation procedures, right? So that way they kind of help us stay in line. The best example that I heard, they said a pilot is the type of person, like, let's say we're both fathers, right? So let's say we're going to go and build our crib. When we go to build a crib, we don't need the instructions. We ain't looking at the instructions. We just start building, right? Oh, this piece looks like it goes there. And then when you're done, you might have like 5, 6 pieces, and you're like, man, I don't know where those go, but the crib's straight. You know what I mean? Like,
it must be extra pieces.
Yeah, hey, those must be extra. Yeah, those are the bonus pieces, right? Your wife, being an air traffic controller, she would flip, like, well, you didn't do this right. What did these belong to? And you're like, nah, they're just bonus pieces, babe. But and on the flip side of things, if a air traffic controller was to build a crib and the instructions wasn't in the box, they'll go and return the thing saying, hey, this was missing. the instructions. So again, it's critical that
Yeah.
one, you master yourself. You cannot, like, we're talking about dreams, people. We're talking about achieving your dreams, like, and really going after things. It's really impossible if you're struggling with your journey, you're struggling with the process. You might need Mr. Coach Wilfred in your life to not only take the assessment, but to dive in and start breaking it down for you, because you can't achieve your goals if you don't know yourself. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you talk about, I honestly believe that your DNA is in your dreams. And so, and I fully believe that we come here as humans equipped to thrive in this life, and we are designed to live our dream.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it happens is the creator provides gifts to the land, like all the time, like on a continuum. And the creator puts it in humans, and then him sends the human to the land. And the gifts reveal themselves in the things that we're naturally good at, things we have a knack for. And then what happens later is you get an idea, you get a thought, a concept, an image, your imagination, and that's what a dream is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is humanity's fundamental responsibility to match their dream with their gift and make it a reality. That's our fundamental
That's good,
responsibility.
man. Wow. That's
We do
powerful.
here is we come into so I what'll happen is a decision maker, like an executive or a business owner, will bring me in, and he'll have me train his or her team.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we start with the flight assessment. They're given an assessment to take prior to me arriving, and then when we get there, the first thing we touch is this assessment. So then we can say, okay, hey, this is where this person needs to be. This is where this person needs to be. It's not about, hey, listen, fire that person or fire this person. It's about repositioning your people, your staff. We
Right.
also allow owners and decision makers to hire properly, like you just mentioned, so that you can have these people in the right position. I have a buddy. Ever since we were, I think we met like 5 or 6 years old. My dad baptized all his kids. He plays in the well. He played in the NFL. He's on ESPN now. His name is Ryan Clark. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pro Bowler, everything, Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
win. Well, in high school, Ryan played quarterback, and I remember I was in the 10th grade. Ryan was in the ninth grade, and I'm like, Ryan, you know we have this eighth grader here that's lighting it up. Like, you sure you want to stay with quarterback? I know you love it, but and Ryan, other people had told him the same thing. Ryan switched to safety. He repositioned, he moved himself from quarterback to safety, and the
Mm-hmm.
rest is history, man.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rest is history. He moved to the place that he should have been at the
At
onset.
the beginning, right?
At the
And that
beginning.
could be the other issue, right? Like, people are trying to be the quarterback when they just have to reposition. You may not be successful in what you're doing right now because you're in a position, or you're chasing something that is not you, right? So the assessment, and what Coach Wilfred is saying, is that he helps you not only know yourself, but then now he repositions you in where you're going to be able to thrive with your superpower, so that you can. And again, like Ryan Clark, man, you talking about, Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
You're talking about Pro Bowler, had a long career. And then
Yep.
not only that, because he mastered himself and he was so good at what he did, he now has a job with ESPN.
Yes,
So
man.
he didn't he transitioned out of football and still is around the game. And why? Because he mastered himself. And that's a perfect example, man. But that's good, man. That's good.
That's the prerequisite for us
Yeah.
to execution at
Hmm.
a high level. That's the prerequisite. That's what we call it, the prerequisite.
Yeah.
After we get that, then we hit them with the 7 steps. And so we have a 7-step formula, and it's the same formula I applied, that I documented this, that I applied to take me from homelessness to, man, when those people called me and told me and asked me to write my name and scan it back to them, and they told me because I was going to authenticate the kill. I didn't even know what that was. I'm like, what you mean authenticate the kill? And they explained to me that's usually like an old war hero honor, or a widow of a war hero, or some congressman or something. But you executed at such a high level that you're going to be honored, and we're going to have your name on this ship.
Wow,
That was
man.
that was the ultimate way for me to say thank you to my mom and dad, my now wife, my kids, my in-laws, to have them come and get a private guided tour by the captain of the ship, and showing them around the ship and climaxing with us at the kill plate with my name on it, man.
Man, wow.
Because I decided to master myself, take accountability, and then take steps to begin executing at every level.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's beautiful, brother. You know, if you're listening to this podcast, man, and we're gonna have Wilfred's social media handles, his website, his email, but this assessment, I know people are probably hearing it and they're like, man, I don't know what this dude talking about. I ain't been in school in 10, 20 years. I ain't taking no test. But, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like when I first took it, I was like kind of like the same thing, like, man, this is gonna be an hour or whatever. It takes 10, 15 minutes.
That's it.
Not only that, um, it's not difficult at all. And you just answer whatever pops up, you know, whatever your first answer that you see, you just highlight that, right? But the assessment, man, again, it's critical that you take this thing so that you can master yourself, so that you can understand, what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. The other thing I loved from the assessment is it also shows you, and this is a crazy thing is this. The first thing I really love about it is how it really defines you. Like I couldn't believe that a 10 to 15-minute assessment can really narrow down who I am deep down to the core. So that first was like, wow, this is amazing. Then it tells you like, okay, this is your communication style. This is how people should communicate to you. These are your strengths. These are the things. And then it even at the end, like it says, these are the different type of careers that these individuals have.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm over here. I'm in the position that my superpower I thrives in. And I didn't realize it, right? And I'm over here trying to be something else, thinking in my mind, like, man, I'm chasing this other dream and I'm having this conflict, but then realizing, like, bro, you're exactly where you need to be. So that's amazing. That's powerful, man. Like again, they're gonna have all of these tips or all of these social media handles so they can reach out to you, my brother. But before we go,
Yeah.
like what tip do you have for a dreamer, the person that's really just on their way, like besides taking the assessment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it took you many years before you got there.
Yep.
But if there was something, there's a key takeaway that can really change and alter someone's life right now, what would that tip be?
I would tell you this. Either you live in a dream or you live in a nightmare. There's no middle ground. I had to learn that. And so what I would recommend anybody, the tip that I would give anybody is take the time to readdress your first love. And that is who you were when you were a child. I went back and revisited Wilfred Bolds as a child, my personality, my talents. I went back and asked my parents, my sisters, what was I good at when I was a little boy? What did I always like to do? So I would encourage everybody to tap into their original love, their first love, who they were as a child, and find out how can I sharpen those skill sets that are my original skill sets, my original thoughts. How can I sharpen that and add value? But most of all, never devalue what you can bring to the table. The
That's a
reason you
bar.
were created. It's the reason you were designed. After all, the creator provides gifts to the land. So it is your responsibility to bring that gift to the land because we need it, but we don't need you devaluing it.
That's good, man. I love it. And when you reminded me of something that I wanted to share, your gift, God puts it inside of us, right? He gives us all of our everything we need, right? Inside. And or if we're not the ones to execute it, then he'll bring those around us, surround us with people that can. But our gift is in seed form.
Yep.
It's in seed form. So when you look at a tree in seed form, is it a tree or is it a seed? So you have to plant the seed, you have to nurture it, and you can watch it grow. We hear Les Brown talks about the Chinese bamboo tree. and how it takes 5 years for the tree to grow 90 feet tall. But in the first 4.5 years, that tree doesn't break ground at all. So people are looking at it and saying, that's not, what is that? Nothing's happening. But then in the last 6 months, the tree grows 90 feet tall. So the question he asks is, does a tree grow 90 feet tall in 6 months or 5 years? It's 5. The answer is 5 years. So a lot of us, it may take 10 years. It may take 12 years. But I think the reason why sometimes, once you know thyself, you know that if it takes 5 years to achieve something or to achieve where you are, then you're exactly in alignment with what you were designed to do. Right.
Absolutely.
But if you think that you're supposed to grow in 6 months, you're going to be struggling for 4.5 years. And then you may not take care of that gift. Right.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, like you said, devalue it. Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was something that brought value, but it's not bringing any return. Yeah. So I'm good. I'm good. But the key thing, my people, is this, and this is why I created this podcast, Desire to Dream. We have desires. We have something burning within us. And like my brother said, we have dreams. God gave us a preview of what our lives ought to be. So you have this desire to dream. And what happens is the experiences of life robs you from your dream. The challenges that you go through, the trauma, the events that take place that set you back, they begin to strip away that desire. And next thing you know, you're working at a job you don't like. All right. You're waking up every single day. They say 87% of individuals go to work in jobs that they hate. That's a high. That number is high. You can find, by repositioning yourself, you can be in the same job, same career, but then you can be thriving because now you're activating your superpower. Because it ain't going to matter. Somebody was sharing, one of my coaches was sharing this the other day. She said, it doesn't matter the industry as long as you're being able to use your superpower.
Absolutely.
Powerful. Hey, bro, man, listen, I appreciate you, man. You're doing amazing, incredible stuff. He has a book, man, look, the ebook, get the book. We're going to have the link for the book. Any last words you want to share with the audience, man? I know, we're going to have everything where they can find you, man, but anything you want to share, man, the floor is yours.
What's going to happen next is when you take this serious, you're gonna go on your journey. Okay, you're gonna go on your journey, right? But what's gonna happen immediately is what you see in your head, you're not gonna see in front of you. What you have in your mind, you're not gonna see it. Other people are not gonna see it. Listen, what reality is are just past dreams, so you're not gonna see it. So when Lowe's talking about the seed, he's talking about planting the seed. When you're in this journey, you must plant yourself. I like to call this isolation. Isolation is just surrounding yourselves with people in the environment that's conducive to your growth. So during this phase, you're going to have to weed a lot of activity out, weed a lot of people out in order for you to actually begin to grow and develop. And so again, when you start your journey, nobody's going to understand it. You're not going to see it, but stay encouraged. Believe in the value that you have and what you have to bring. Okay. So that we can execute on this thing.
Man, I love it, bro. I'm gonna have to listen to that 10 times, man, just because it's so empowering and encouraging, right? But listen, folks, man, I brought my brother on, man. He's a coach, right? He's a disc assessment, he breaks it down. He's a life coach. He can executive coach. I mean, he can really help your business, your personal lives, your career, whatever, take it to the next level. I brought him on. I don't think I've ever had someone with this skill set and expertise on my podcast. And so we've gone through 33 episodes, right? And now you've been hearing all these different dreams, and I'm hoping that something triggered, but now it's time to act. Now it's time to connect with a coach, with a mentor, with someone, because you can't do it alone. And yes, It's not going to be free. You're going to have to invest, right? And so you tap in with my brother, and we're not trying to sell you nothing. We're trying to help you. But he has a family that this is what he does. So tap in, click the link, take the assessment, connect with my brother. He's going to set you up, man. He's going to get you right on track so that you can thrive, because stop wasting time, for real. Like, that's my message before I'm done. Like, stop wasting time. Your dream is important. God gave you a gift. He gave you a reason and a purpose for this life. You need to go out there and activate it. And how you do that, if you're struggling, you connect with my brother Wilfred, and he's gonna help you get you to the next level. So there you have it, everybody, man. Desire to Dream podcast with your boy Lo and Wilfred. Man, we hope you guys really enjoy this, man. Go back, replay it, man. Watch it, share it with your friends, and let's execute at a high level, man. And let's get your dreams and turn them into a reality. We appreciate you. We love you. God bless.
Yes.